Ever feel like the world's stuck on repeat? Like no matter how much time passes, the same struggles keep coming back? That's exactly what Tupac was talking about in Changes, a song that hits just as hard today as it did when it first dropped. This wasn't just music, it was a mirror held up to society, showing the raw truth about racism, poverty, and the fight to survive. But here's the thing, Tupac wasn't just calling out the problems, he was challenging us to do something about them. So let's break it down. What was he really saying? And why does it still matter? Stick around, because this isn't just about a song. It's about the changes we still need to make. In verse 1, he dives deep into the struggles of being black in America, painting a raw and unfiltered picture of systemic oppression, poverty, and violence. The verse starts with a heavy question about whether life is even worth living, showing his despair and frustration. He's exhausted from being poor, but even more so from the added burden of racism. Being black in a society that treats him as less than human. The line about looking for a purse to snatch isn't glorifying crime. It's showing desperation. When you're hungry and see no way out, survival instincts kick in even if it means doing something wrong. Tupac then calls out the police, accusing them of not caring about black lives. He highlights the hypocrisy of a system where killing a black person can make an officer a hero in the eyes of society. The next lines are even darker. He sarcastically mimics the attitude of those in power, suggesting they'd rather give drugs to black kids than help them, just to keep them trapped in cycles of addiction and violence. He references how the government, or those in control, supply drugs and guns to black communities, then sit back and watch the chaos unfold. The mention of Huey Newton, a Black Panther leader, is crucial. Huey fought black empowerment, but his movement was crushed and he was killed. Tupac is saying that even when black people try to stand up, they are taken down. Despite this, he still preaches unity. Real change won't happen unless black people support each other instead of seeing each other as strangers or enemies. The line about the devil not being able to take a brother if he's close to me suggests that solidarity is protection. Finally, he reflects on childhood innocence, mourning how things have changed for the worse. The line, "that's the way it is," isn't resignation. It's frustration. He's saying this is the reality, but it shouldn't be. The whole verse is a mix of anger, sadness, and a call to action, showing how systemic racism destroys lives while urging black communities to come together to fight it. The chorus of Changes is deceptively simple but carries a heavy emotional and philosophical weight. On the surface, the repetition of "that's just the way it is" sounds like resignation, like he's accepting that the world is unfair and nothing will ever change. But when you listen closely, there's a deeper frustration in those words. It's not really surrender. It's more like exhausted acknowledgement. He's saying, look, this is how things are right now, and it's messed up, but people act like it's normal. The line, "things will never be the same," hits hard because it works in two ways. On one level, it's about loss, the innocence of childhood, the hope for a better future, the unity that black communities once fought for, like the Black Panthers. Things have changed, but not for the better. On another level, it's almost a challenge, like he's saying, if we don't do something, nothing will ever improve. It's not just a statement, it's a wake-up call. The way the chorus repeats, come on, and hear me, makes it feel like Tupac is pleading with the listener. He's not just passively observing the world, he's demanding that people pay attention. The phrase, that's just the way it is, becomes almost sarcastic, like, we're told to accept this, but why should we? The sadness in the melody contrasts with the defiance in the lyrics, making it clear that while he sees the harsh reality, he's not okay with it. Overall, the chorus isn't just a hook, it's the emotional core of the song. It captures the tension between frustration and hope, between accepting reality and refusing to settle for it. Even though he's saying things will never be the same, the song itself is proof that he's trying to spark change by making people confront the truth. In verse 2, Tupac continues his unflinching critique of systemic racism, self-destructive cycles in black communities, and the false promises of progress. He starts by calling out the persistence of racism. All I see is racist faces, suggesting that no matter how much time passes, hatred and prejudice remain deeply embedded in society. The line, misplaced hate makes disgrace to races, points out how racism distorts people's minds, turning them against each other instead of addressing the real issues. He's frustrated that this division keeps everyone trapped in a broken system, and he questions what it would actually take to create a better place. Tupac then shifts focus to the self-destructive behaviors that plague both black and white communities, particularly drug addiction. Both black and white are smoking crack tonight. Shows that while racism targets black people, the damage of poverty and drugs affects everyone. But the real tragedy he highlights is how black people are often pitted against each other. The only time we chill is when we kill each other. It's a grim observation about how violence has become normalized, and he follows it with a call for unity. It takes skill to be real, time to heal each other. He's saying that staying true to yourself and your community is harder than falling into chaos, but it's the only way forward. One of the most striking lines is, "We ain't ready to see a black president." At the time, 1998, the idea of a black president seemed almost impossible, and Tupac is calling out America's deep-seated racism. Even if progress seems heaven-sent, society isn't truly ready to accept black leadership. He then points to mass incarceration. The penitentiary is packed and it's filled with blacks, highlighting how the system criminalizes blackness instead of addressing the root causes of crime like poverty and lack of opportunity. The verse ends with a heartbreaking look at the choices forced upon people in the hood. A mother has no good options, and being real don't appeal to the brother in you, suggests that honesty and hard work often don't pay off in a world stacked against you. Instead, the easy way, selling drugs, feels like the only way to survive, even if it means destroying your own community. The line, "I made a G today, but you made it in a sleazy way," captures the moral conflict. People want to provide for their families, but the system gives them few legitimate ways to do it. Ultimately, this verse is about the vicious cycles of racism, poverty, and violence, how they feed into each other and seem impossible to escape. Yet, even in his frustration, Tupac still pushes for awareness and change, refusing to let society off the hook for its role in perpetuating these struggles. The interlude serves as a powerful moment of clarity and urgency. It's where Tupac shifts from describing problems to demanding action. Unlike the verses, which paint bleak pictures of systemic oppression, this section is a direct call to his community. We gotta make a change. He's not just asking for policy shifts or government intervention. He's talking about personal and collective responsibility. The line, "It's time for us as a people to start making some changes," frames this as a movement, something black folks must do for themselves because waiting for the system to fix itself hasn't worked. When he says, "Let's change the way we eat, let's change the way we live," he's talking about more than just diet or lifestyle. It's about rejecting the destructive patterns forced upon black communities. Poor nutrition, for example, ties into food deserts in inner cities, while the way we live speaks to cycles of violence, poverty, and survival mode mentality. But the most crucial line is, "Let's change the way we treat each other." Here, Tupac is calling out internalized oppression, the jealousy, mistrust, and the infighting that keep black people divided. He's saying unity is survival, and without it, progress is impossible. The phrase, "the old way wasn't working," is a quiet but devastating indictment of the status quo. It's an acknowledgement that respectability politics, begging for equality, or relying on broken systems won't bring liberation. Instead, he's saying survival depends on radical self-reliance and community care. The interlude strips away the song's earlier despair and leaves us with something sharper, a challenge. Tupac isn't just mourning the world, he's mapping a way out, starting with the people who've been left behind. It's a reminder that change isn't just about protesting the system, it's about rebuilding from the ground up together. In verse 3, Tupac delivers his most confrontational and politically charged lyrics, blending personal struggle with systemic critique. He opens with a desperate plea. "Can't a brother get a little peace?" highlighting how violence follows black men everywhere, from street corners to global conflicts like the war in the Middle East. This line draws a parallel between external wars and America's internal wars on its own people, particularly the war on drugs, which he calls out as a disguised attack on black communities. Instead of addressing poverty, the government criminalizes survival, leaving the police to harass people like him for crimes they're forced into. The line, "I ain't never did a crime, I ain't have to do," cuts deep because it exposes the lack of real choices in oppressed environments. Tupac isn't glorifying crime. He's saying desperation leaves no moral high ground. When he warns, "Don't let him jack you up, back you up, crack you up, and pimp smack you up," he's describing the cycle of police brutality, psychological pressure, and street exploitation designed to break black men down. His solution? You gotta learn to hold your own. Survival means resistance, whether it's through street smarts, defiance, or armed self-defense. The verse takes a darker turn when he mentions jealousy over something as simple as a mobile phone, symbolizing how even small signs of success make black men targets. His defiance against cops, "Tell the cops they can't touch this," isn't just bravado, it's a survival tactic. The sound of my tool, gun, represents the tragic reality that staying safe as a black man means staying armed. "As long as I stay black, I gotta stay strapped," is one of the most haunting lines, summarizing how race itself is a threat in America, forcing constant vigilance. The verse ends with the inevitability of revenge cycles, payback from old enemies resurfacing after years. The rat-a-tat-tat gunfire isn't just a sound effect, it's the never-ending loop of violence Tupac can't escape. Yet, beneath the hardened exterior, there's exhaustion. He's tired of looking over his shoulder, tired of a system that leaves him no way out. This verse isn't just about anger. It's about the suffocating weight of being black in a world that refuses to change.